Welcome to episode 20 of Nerdquake. I think that I'm Mike at this point. I'm not really sure, but I'm joined by Clive.
Hey.
There's Clive and Chris.
Yo, yo.
And we're here to talk about video games. You guys ready to talk about video games?
Hell yeah.
Yep. Are you prepared for this? Because, I didn't even prepare. I'm just ready to talk.
I'm prepared. And you know what? Okay, so today, let's just set some ground rules. 5 years of gaming. What are your top 3 games in the last 5 years? That's what I want to know.
Oh, man. This is an easy one for me. So, Chris, you got your top 3 we're doing?
No, I've only got 2 out of 3 figured
Chris
out.
only has 2. He's going to work on it.
Yeah.
I'll start with 1. And I think Chris will probably be with me. If we're going back 5 years, I have to think that I at least had a couple of those years invested in World of Warcraft. So,
World of Warcraft top 10 for me.
What's that?
Not even top 10 for me.
Not even top 10. It was at one point. It was
World of Warcraft died before 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's a shame. I actually paid for the latest expansion, and I have yet to log in.
Heard good things.
What's the last expansion you played?
I played the previous expansion. I don't remember what it was called before Shadowlands. This last expansion.
Battle for
Azeroth.
There you go.
BFA.
Was that was that the one before this current one?
Yeah.
I think there was actually one between that one and this one, though, wasn't there?
Well, I think I played Battle for Azeroth. I didn't even finish leveling though.
Yeah, I finished leveling. I actually leveled a couple characters to max, but the thing about it for me is all of the guild activities pretty much died when that came out. It became about the short term. It became about the mobile game. And that really left a bad taste in my mouth. I didn't want to have to maintain my World of Warcraft account. It was already bad enough with the garrisons. However, the game still has a place in my top 3 because there is no game that has socially, I've enjoyed socially as much as I have World of Warcraft. I've made relationships that have lasted a lifetime, like friends. I mean, Chris, obviously you and I didn't meet on World of Warcraft, but we spent plenty of time together playing World of Warcraft.
Oh, yeah.
And our guild master, back when I played with Leland, our guild master from that guild, his name is Jeff, and he happens to live in Michigan here. Obviously, if you don't know, I'm in the Ohio area. And Jeff actually found out I had moved up north, contacted me, and we've hung out several times. So, and the funny thing is, he's far from the only one. Leland actually is met over World of Warcraft as well. So,
was he originally a World of Warcraft?
Absolutely, yeah. Leland was back in the day. He played a cleric on EverQuest, if we want to go back and really show my age. But yeah, I started playing World of Warcraft with Leland and another friend of ours. And Leland has been a lifelong friend. Obviously, Chris, you're friends with him now as well. Mm-hmm. So, it's hard to take that game out. So that's my number 3, I think.
I think we've all spent a lot of time in World of Warcraft. Have a special place for it. But I don't know. The
Clive,
game...
you spent a shitload of time just chasing rare mounts. That's like
true.
What your World of Warcraft experience was.
I'm a collector, and definitely more on the single player side of the game than the social side of the game, because I started late. I started in Panda, so I did not have the same guild building experience that you all have. My experience with WoW is just very different, and I love the questing. I love the single player aspect of it, but I don't know. Once you've kind of seen it all, it's kind of repetitive.
When you got involved, were you a father already?
I was not.
You were not, but not too long after that. Because the thing about being in a guild is it doesn't really go well with having an infant. It doesn't really go well with that at all. Yes. So, I remember when you were doing the mount hunting, because we would be like, all right, let's raid. And you'd see Clive in the deeps.
Deep home. Waiting for
home.
ANX.
That's where it was, yes. Yeah,
just waiting for ANX.
Like a year. Like a year you were logged on solid and sitting and staring at the ceiling in the caves.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, what's your number 3?
I did not rank mine. I just have three games. And it's so hard to put the games above each other, which is why I didn't rank. But Stardew Valley is in my top 3 in the last 5 years.
Ooh.
That's an interesting choice. My daughter plays that actually pretty frequently. She loves that game.
I love Stardew because most people think of the game as a farming sim. It's not really a farming sim. There's the farming sim aspect to it, but to me it's a little bit more of a good combination between this rags to riches sim, has really good pacing. There are a lot of really interesting subsystems. Like the mines and the caves are really enjoyable to like really build up into, get better gear, go deeper in the caves. It's exciting. There's kind of some story aspects tied in with that. Getting better at fishing, getting a better fishing line, catching some legendary fish.
Video game fishing.
Catching your SO in the game.
How many
Like,
games
whom I
have
wanna get married?
incorporated video game fishing? How many games?
Yep. Yeah, the relationships, exactly. The relationships with the townsfolk. There's lots of like, it's also perfect for me because there's, like WoW, there are lots of different subsystems that all have achievements around them. Cooking, and like, it's perfect for me because there are lots of different little things to go after that don't tread on top of each other. It's not super repetitive. When you think about achievements for something like Diablo, it's all inside this world of like, I'm going through a dungeon and I need to blow something up, right?
Do you know I'm laughing right now because you are so the dog with the bell and the food. You know what I'm saying? They get us so well with that. But Stardew Valley is exactly that, right? Like the little rewards. Oh, everything has achievements like that. My daughter eats that up too.
Yeah.
But I've heard her say that she thinks of Stardew Valley more as like a life sim than a farm sim.
Yes.
Like your character is kind of who you are. And she talked about it, and her character, like, she has a backstory for him, and everything. So
A whole fanfic.
yeah. So she's drawn him and drawn her character. I think her character's a female actually, but she's drawn her character and everything. Yeah, she loves it. She's played it for a long time. So
the other thing I love about that game is that it's literally made by one person. Like that's the dream as someone who's like a gaming enthusiast, is like this guy just like really wanted to learn how to make games. You make one game, you do everything, you do the art, you do the music, you do the coding, you launch it, and it takes off, it blasts off into success. It's really like, it's the dream when it comes to this like story around its creation.
Also a great example for, stellar technology and graphics definitely do not, at least not alone make a great game.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
Stardew is still 8-bit. Still looks like something that you might have got on your Nintendo back in 1994, when Nintendo was coming out. So the graphics are not anything impressive, but the depth and breadth of the gameplay in Stardew is definitely what draws the people in. Do you play it too, Chris?
Oh yeah, like building stuff I really love, and the unlock, like basically upgrading your farm. That's what I was all about. Like, let's clear the land, let's build this, let's have my exact like system for all my plants going in. Oh, I can start brewing stuff. Amazing. All right, let's do it. Like, chicken coop, we're in. Like, yep, it's great.
I think Lexi actually bought me a copy of Stardew Valley recently for my Switch, and I don't think I've even fired it up yet.
You
I'll
gotta
have to take a look at it.
It's
You guys
fun.
have
Spend the
convinced me.
time on it for sure.
All right. Is that it? You want to add anything else? Or should we let Chris give us one of his?
You did it again, you son of a bitch.
Oh, I've done it like 3 times.
Son of a bitch, I'm in.
Have you not seen me flinch when I did it? I don't know how we're going to do this. It's like, that's who you are. You're not Clive to me, so
But
I
he
don't
is.
know.
Do you even really know me then?
Yeah.
I know, right?
doesn't
Yeah.
even know.
Come on, man.
All right, I say we toss
easy,
it over to Chris and get one of his juicy top 3.
We'll
Oh,
chop that part
juicy.
out.
So
If you want, I can just in my audio, whenever I say, I can just bleep it. Like
just
with
make
the-
it do a
with-
quack.
with the cursing bleep, so it'll be
Yes.
like bleep
Yes.
or
We'll do
quack. I can do a quack or something. Yes.
Yeah, people are like, oh, that's weird. Why is it quacking? That's really strange.
We won't explain it at all.
Every time
Just
they
ignore it.
quack, Clive starts talking. That's weird. I don't get it.
I'll be like, hey, quack.
Hey, quack, quack.
All
All right. So unlike Clive,
We're leaving
I
this
did-
in the audio too, by the way.
Oh,
we're
yeah,
leaving
this
in
should
the
all
audio
stay.
with
This
no
is fine.
explanation. They're just going to hear the quack every time the word comes up.
Quack. Every time they heard the word
Quack.
quack.
Yeah.
quack.
All right, Chris, take it away.
Yeah. So mine's the opposite. I did rank mine in like 3, 2, 1 for sure. And number 3, as a top 3 it was pretty easy, but it didn't really get number 1. Is gonna have to be Overwatch. Because I don't, and the weird, I don't play it at all anymore, like at all. I pretty much don't get back into it. But from launch to how hard I went on that originally, and just being a part of all that and experiencing it, that was fantastic. I had a lot of fun. Did a lot of streams early on with it, and there's a lot of characters. Like 1 or 2 of them, I might even still get tattoos as. Like That
The
was
dynamics of the characters in that game are out of this world too.
yeah. Like it's definitely a loot box crazy thing, and like Overwatch 2 announcement and all that, whatever they're doing was just like, okay, not even interested in booting up or doing anything with it right now. And it had such potential, especially with the Overwatch League and everything. I've
Just
got
mad
my
about the like the microtransaction mentality.
yeah, it's pretty heavy, and I don't know, just the enjoyment of getting back in any game that has like a strong like shifting meta all the time that you got to put that time in to play, and it's not like something where you could jump in like solo. You have to be on that team and deal with it to get back to a point where you feel okay. Yeah, and my MMR was really high, so when I get back in, I get shit on. So
Yeah. If you don't know this
maybe-
about Chris is like a long-time Counter-Strike player, and he's one of those guys who gets in a Counter-Strike game and immediately gets accused of cheating. That's like within the first minute and a half of playing. So I play with Chris a lot. It's very frustrating.
First 30 seconds. Come on.
It's very frustrating to walk around the corner and you'd be like, "Oh, that's Chris," and you're dead. You're like, "Oh, there he is," but you're
it's
dead.
more like all you get out is oh.
Yeah, that's it. Yes, happened a lot, and that's kind of the story of Overwatch for me. Like Overwatch is a fantastic game. There's no doubt about it. I've played a lot of the characters, and I have a significant amount of hours in that game. Probably, more than 50, which is a lot for a game for me at this stage in my life, kind of where I am right now.
Mm-hmm.
However, I am not the same story as Chris. I am pretty weak as a first-person shooter player. I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. But the thing about Overwatch is there's nothing more frustrating than just getting wasted over and over and over and over repeatedly. And I kind of liked, what was the guy with the bow?
Oh, were you a Hanzo main?
I definitely was not a Hanzo main. I know that's a huge insult. But I really did like playing him. And like he got out of popularity. And then I was like, well, I'm not going to have anyone call me a Hanzo main. So
I got really good with Hanzo for a while.
Yeah.
You too?
Hanjo. Yeah, I got really good with Hanzo for a while. Come on, I mained everybody at the beginning before they came out with so many characters.
I think of you as a Reaper. Is that Reaper is his name?
Yeah, everyone thinks of Mr. Edgelord over here as like a Reaper main, and I agree. He's probably one of the ones I get a tattoo of.
You are disgusting with him.
Edgelord
Listen,
playing with Chris
BlizzCon
would make you want to
2014
smash
play of the
your
game
computer.
back to back. Remember, with Reaper, it was beautiful.
No, not beautiful. It was painful.
Oh yes, beautiful pain.
All right. Paul, you have anything to add for Overwatch? Obviously. These are going to be great, actually. This is going to add a great dynamic to our podcast.
I wanted to like it more than I did, but I'm just not a big shooter fan. But like the story around it has always been one of the most impressive parts for me, that they can create so much investment around these characters.
So
yeah, I really love the story and the world building.
I need to reinstall it. It's bottom line. I need to reinstall it and play this weekend.
Having visited Blizzard office
BlizzCon
and stood next to the Tracer statue, I think when you see these characters that they have created in a 3D world in real life standing in front of you, it really helps you to understand the depth of the game of Overwatch. As the depth of the characters is really the meat of it. And that's the thing I think that Blizzard always had going for it. When you look at World of Warcraft or you look at Overwatch or any of these characters are like real characters that have a history that you can love and appreciate their individual skills because of their background and everything. And that adds a lot to the game. When you play the character, you kind of play the character. So love that aspect of it for sure. All right, so I guess we're back to me then. So number 2 might surprise you guys because I don't think that I've talked to either of you about playing this.
Oh, I know which one it is.
Okay,
Hello
guess.
Kitty
Now you have
Island
to guess.
Adventure. You don't need to play games.
Chris,
I get it.
No, man. You didn't look at my notes.
I did, yeah.
No, number 2 for me is Elite Dangerous, for sure, without a doubt.
Is
that the space one?
The space one, yeah. I have it's probably been a year now, but I've had a VR-capable computer for about a little over a year probably. And Elite Dangerous I was playing actually before I got my VR. But the thing about VR is, even now today, it's still really on the forefront when you look at the software that's out for it. Not to insult anybody, because there's a bunch of fantastic games out there. Star Wars Squadrons is among them, and that would probably be on the top of my list. But I had a whole bunch of problems driver-wise and graphics card and compatibility and monitor and you name it. I had problems getting it off the ground. So that really frustrated me with it. And as a result, I haven't played it as much. I still actually need to kind of get in there and look at the settings and perfect some things, including the controls, which were just terrible mapped out of the box, which blew my mind. But that being said, Elite Dangerous is the exact opposite. When I went from playing it, with keyboard and mouse, well, with controllers, but looking at my monitor, to playing it in the VR world, it's the first game where the immersion factor was near absolute. Because the thing is, they have a huge advantage of having you sit in an immobile chair to play your game, right? So when Elite Dangerous launched, the first thing I noticed was, I wish I could remember the ship I was flying. I don't remember the names of them. It's been a while since I played. But you get in your cockpit, and I have the Logitech Cytec throttle, the HOTAS stick, right? The game is actually formatted, yes, exactly, formatted to match that stick and that throttle button for button. So when you look at your hands in the game and you want to launch your missiles, that button is in the same spot in the game. So when you look down, you see that button there. When you move the throttle forward, it moves and everything. The inside of the ship is immediately noticeable because there's like wires protruding. So you can tell that whoever had this ship added some aftermarket things, and they couldn't get in the interior of the walls to add them. There's like duct tape holding the wires to the walls and stuff. And this game is loaded with details like that. And then the aspects of the game are essentially, you're flying your very own Millennium Falcon. What do you want to do? Do you want to smuggle stuff? You want to fly into a burning space station and rescue diplomats from there, because you can get, rewards with the factions. I have actually earned the maximum status on both of the primary factions for ships. So I have the max level cruiser on the, not the Alliance side, but the Imperial side, and the, I forget what the other one is. Again, it's been a while since I played, but managed to get to max status on both of those. Played a lot of hours. It's really just kind of get lost mining asteroids or chasing pirates or smuggling goods, whatever you want to do. But fantastic space game, completely immersive. I don't know if either of you have even tried it, but you guys probably don't have anything to add to that one.
Is that the one that Mark Hamill was involved with or playing?
I'm not sure, actually.
That's the only thing I recall about that game. All those space sim type of things, I didn't really get involved with at all.
There's some really amazing things about it. The way they do wings when you're fighting, you can actually have a fighter bay within your ship. So I could, for example, if we all loaded up together, I could go out with you and Clive in my fighter bay, and I can say, launch fighters, and I can still do battle, and you guys will be out in super tiny, compact. When you get in there, you do feel a little claustrophobic because, the shield is right over your head. But you guys are in these super mobile fighters with fast lasers and, only one or two missiles. And then you can return to the ship and dock with the ship, and it puts out a holographic, place for you to come in and land. And it comes down and grabs you and pulls, and everything feels so legitimate and authentic. I mean, landing at a space station, for example, there's spheres, and the inside of the sphere is empty. So you go through what they call the mail slot, which is, literally a slot, rectangular slot. And it's spinning because, of course, the space station would be spinning to maintain gravity for everybody inside. So as it spins, that slot is spinning. So you have to set the rotation of your ship to match as you fly through. And there's a ton of little details like that are just out of this world. So if you haven't tried it, honest to God, if you're interested in just flying around in space and kind of feeling what it would like if you really legit had a spaceship and you could just go and do what you want, this is definitely one of those amazing games for sure.
So have you gotten one of those moving gaming chair setups? I think some of the gaming chairs make kind of cockpit things to put those on the controls and everything that you just mentioned, the joystick and stuff.
Yeah,
nice.
It has not come yet, but there will become a day. Microsoft Flight Simulator actually is on my list of to-dos. I've been seeing a lot of people doing the online version and everything, and the more as I get older, I realize that I'm probably never gonna be flying for real anymore, since I did that when I was young. So this is kind of the next best thing for me.
That's cool.
All right. You guys have nothing to add. You guys have not played it either,
So
have you?
I didn't play Elite
No.
Dangerous. I did put quite a bit of time into No Man's Sky, which almost made my list. But I definitely hear you on that, on the sense of like kind of having your own space. That I tried the VR version of that as well, but kind of having like your own ship and going out and kind of being lonely in the galaxy, or choosing to go and trade goods, or blow stuff up or whatever it might be. So I got a little bit of that same sense, but I've also heard that that No Man's Sky is for babies and that Elite Dangerous is for grown-ups, so I might have to give it a try.
Interesting. I mean, I'll tell you, Elite Dangerous gets so deep that, like, I've only told you, like, the very tip of the iceberg. Like, there's alien technology hiding out there in the galaxy. And if you go and find it, you can upgrade your ship, but you have to land on planets and get out your lunar lander and go drive your lunar lander to find the parts. And, it's really cool, a very, very, very enjoyable game. So deep, too.
And you do it in VR now, you said?
Oh yeah, 100% VR. I mean, the thing about that game, and here's something that you guys will probably laugh at. Recently, what has happened in Elite Dangerous is there was a big spike in mining, because they beefed it a little bit. They were nerfing some other things, but they wanted miners to be a legit way to make a living in Elite Dangerous. So I did mining for a while. So what I would do is, your ship is parked at this space station. I would, sit down in my chair, get all prepped, get my VR headset on, get loaded up, and then I would load the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack in the background and let it run.
And he becomes Star-Lord. Hell yeah.
I tell you, honest to God, I've never lost myself in a game so much. It's the closest I've ever come to believing that I was out there in the asteroids mining, just waiting for Thanos to come around the corner at any time,
And snap, bam, you're done.
Exactly. Yeah, it was,
Well, then, quick note
awesome.
with all that. What VR headset do you use? And I think Clive has one too. Don't you guys both have VR? Which one are you guys using?
I have Rift S.
Yeah, Rift S for me too. Hannah is actually about ready to pick up a Rift 2. So my daughter, she's been considering it for a while, and she's building her PC. She got a job about 6 months ago, and the first thing she said is VR PC inbound. So she'll be fine too. She's actually a badass Beat Saber player, Chris. It would blow your mind. She plays
honestly, Beat Saber is like the one interest I have in getting a VR headset. Like I would play that. I've watched.
I know you'd be good at
Evie
it,
play a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you're good at drums on Rock Band, Beat Saber is for you, because I feel like
I'm okay,
it's kind of the
but
same
I can
vein,
improve.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
All right. My next entry is Ori and the Blind Forest, or like Ori 1 and 2. I don't know if any of you have played these games, but they are...
I have played Ori all the way through, believe it or not.
I've only watched you play
actually
it.
surprises me.
It's the thing about it that caught my eye was the art.
Yeah.
Because it's like playing a video game in a painting. That's like the only way I can describe it.
I
very
wrote
much
that.
enjoyed it.
I wrote those exact words in my notes.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly how I felt about that game. It was very enjoyable. I wouldn't make my top 3. However, it was a great game. Very enjoyable.
So I have a soft spot for platformers, and this, I think, in addition to some really smart level design and really well-timed ability unlocks, it's a great platformer that makes you think. So it's not a puzzle platformer, but you actually have to think about what your moves and what your skill sets are and how you unlock things and how that can allow you to access different places, which I think, so just the design in itself is good, but then add in the...
Go ahead.
I was going to say, add in the amazing art, add in an incredible soundtrack and a really touching story. And you have I cried on stream.
It's a good recipe. It is.
You're
You're
one
invested.
of the best games.
You're invested by the time you get into that game. What I was going to say, it's kind of like a action puzzle platformer, because you know what I'm saying? Because it's even though you're solving the puzzles a lot of times with your perfectly timed jumps and you're using your skills perfectly, it's still solving. Like, a lot of times you have to stop and look at it and go, how the heck am I going to get through this?
Yeah. How can I put all my stuff together? How can I put my tools together?
Yeah, it's really really a great one for
Chris,
sure.
knowing that you like Kaizo Mario levels, I really think that you would enjoy it. The dexterity required is really it's fun to learn. It's satisfying when you complete certain stunts and stuff. So give it a
Yeah,
try.
I think you mentioned it when one of the streams I was checking out, and it's on my list basically to try out for sure.
I'm looking to see if I have it installed
It's
actually
all
because I think
it's out on Switch now in a 2-pack.
oh, I might have to do that.
So if you want a hard
I might
copy
have to do that.
and want to play with
Well, I'm trying
a
to
controller,
What do you think is better on that, keyboard controls or an actual controller?
I use controller on it, and I'm a
Oh,
diehard.
you know what? I have my
keyboard guy.
I have my SNES Switch controller I bought, so that would actually be perfect for that. That's what I can't do the Mario stuff on the stupid joystick things.
Oh,
So
yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, so I might. That's a good reason to use that controller still. Then.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to find my Steam code to log into my Steam. It's been so long.
What? You used to be a gamer.
I know. Like, what has adulthood done to me? It's just ruined me. I'm all responsible and stuff. It's terrible.
All right, Chris, what's your number 2?
Number 2.
Number 2. I don't know if this will surprise you all or not, but it's League of Legends.
I'm surprised it's not your number 1.
Of the last
No,
5
it's nowhere
years
near
still?
number 1.
Okay.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I've gotten to like
as many hours though as you
Yeah,
play
well,
the league.
Oh man, I don't know what's top up there with hours though, but League is pretty high. But like there's been breaks and dips, but as time goes on, unlike other companies and franchises, I've grown to like League even more. They've upped their game in interesting directions when it comes to cinematic story, their competitive esports stuff, and the character design and like updating their characters and what they do. Even to things such as like KDA, their fake music group that they have is really great. And I've still met a lot of friends through that one and play with a lot. So it's just, even though I'm not playing right now currently, because it just comes in waves on what we're doing, because a lot of us are kind of sucked into Among Us right now. Which I have a love-hate relationship with that game. But
Great
yeah,
concept.
it's
Among
still
Us
up there.
is truly like genius. So we should definitely spend some time actually talking about that after we're done with this.
Honorable mentions maybe or something.
Yeah, well, that's kind of they've kind of like captured a whole new thing. So we definitely should talk about that. But Chris, I mean, when I think of League of Legends and you, I feel like you'll be 90 years old and coming back to play League of Legends again.
It's like it goes together like lamb and tuna fish.
Yeah, you get like bored with whatever new exciting thing that you're playing, and you're like, I think I'm gonna go back and play some League. That's his go-to.
Yeah, it's always there and solid, you know.
And
when I have my
again,
nasty breakup, I'm like, oh, League, you're still there for me. Oh.
Exactly. And as much as it pains me to say this, Chris is really effing good at League of Legends too. So, you know, again, another game that like I found, League of Legends is a game that teaches you about yourself. I found out that I'm very impatient, and it makes me suck really bad at like League of Legends. Chris hates playing the game with me. I'm like, well, I died. Chris is like, we haven't even started yet.
We're in the loading screen. Oh, but I died though.
Chris is like, the bell hasn't even sounded. I'm like, well, you know, I went out and ran into a crowd of their minions. So
he went and committed Sudoku. We know.
I just, you know, I like get a taste of blood in that game, and I'm like, I'm going for the throat. And the problem is that I don't take into account the enemy's abilities. Like, you know, and that's the thing that Chris, I know you have over me, is that you're looking at that player and you're going, his ultimate is this, his normal attack is this. How do I have an advantage if I go in?
I mean, I used to.
Him?
I don't know most of the champions now, so I'm kind of in that boat.
I imagine that champions list is getting pretty big at this point.
Yeah, and they've been doing a lot of new champions this year alone too. So
makes it hard to stay up on them.
What you mentioned about Overwatch, it's hard to stay on top of a meta, and that's kind of the thing that's like kind of kept me out, like after, you know, kicking my drug addiction to League of Legends, is you know, the thought of getting back in and learning the kits of like 30 new champions and the new store items, and that's really the thing that's kind of kept me from playing again.
It's an investment, like any of these games. You know, if you want to get in and be a quality player that's going to bring something to the guys you're playing with, you got to spend some time. And that's something that I think, I remember back in the day, and this is going to take it really back, show my age here, but Worms Armageddon when it came out. Chris, do you remember that game? Did you ever play it?
No, I never played that one.
Okay, Worms Armageddon was a huge game because it was one of the first times that, for me at least, that playing one-on-one was really like an intense thing. And what they did was they actually took the game, and this wasn't even like barely a mode in the game because the game is basically scorched earth. If we want to take it all the way back to the DOS days, two little tanks shooting at each other sitting on a mountainside. Worms took that up a notch by adding a crap load of weapons and bazookas and grenades and the holy hand grenade and all kinds of crazy stuff, right? But one of the things they added was this grappling gun. And what you could do with it is if you were good with it, you could like Tarzan around the map, and you could actually hover over the opponent, drop a grenade on their head, and then Tarzan around and hide yourself in a little nook somewhere, So the game got really intense that way. It was just called roping, playing World of War or Worms Armageddon while roping. And, that's kind of what I think back to when I think about like those first competitions that got me into it. And I got good at that, and I was a competitor. And then after that, it's all downhill from there. League of Legends, these first-person shooters, I was never competitive again. And it was hours. And I remember my cousin going, "You played that game for how long?" Because you got 150 hours in, or whatever. And I had to explain to him, well, you got to practice to get good. It's hard. It takes timing and skill, and you only get that by doing these things over and over again. And I remember, this is probably 90s, and he's like, "I can't believe that you would sit and practice a video game. Like, what is the logic there? Like, you're completely wasting your time." Now that's like, you can't play any game without practicing, really, any game where you want to compete. So,
yep.
But that was my first time I had someone like criticize the fact that I was putting hours in a game to get good at it. So, taking it back, I'm gonna have to look when Worms Armageddon came out because it's gonna be embarrassing. It's probably gonna be everybody's gonna know how old I am at that point.
At least you didn't say like Qbert or something.
I played my share of Qbert.
Qbert's a great game.
On the arcade machines. Yes, yeah, classics. Worked at Aladdin's Castle back in the day, Clive. So, Tekken, Ninja Turtles. Loved Ninja Turtles.
Fair.
Plenty of time on that machine.
Oh, so fun. So fun.
Absolutely. So I guess we're back to me then. So now we're back to my number one.
Oh, hit us with it.
Number one. This is an easy one for me because I think it's my number one, not just in the last 5 years, but it's my favorite game of all time and fairly new, and that is Breath of the Wild on the Nintendo Switch. It is the only Zelda game for me that I have played through twice, 100% all the way through twice, except for maybe the original Zelda because you got the when you started, or if I remember right, the original Zelda Nintendo, when you started, it made the Link account, the named Link account, and then you had like some bonuses. You started with like a silver shield or something, and the monsters were more difficult. I think I played that one all the way through twice. But Breath of the Wild, the second time through, I basically totaled it. So I got every shrine, and I did all of that before I beat Ganon, which is the only disappointing thing about that game. Is that Ganon is such a ridiculously easy fight. It's like a joke because by the time you get to him, you have already fought all of those, and I don't even remember what they're called, the mechanical walker guys that shoot the lasers at you. You've fought so many of those guys and timed your attacks perfectly to reflect that shield beam back. That Ganon is pretty much a joke. But honestly, the rest of the game is so good, and the little aspects of it, the Korok seeds and the puzzles in the shrines, they're so good that I wasn't even that upset when the ending sucked because the game was so enjoyable from beginning to end that I was just in love with playing it. The bow and the dynamics of using the bow in the game is probably one of my favorite mechanics of any weapon I've ever played with in a game. The characters are good. The dialogue, so-so, but it's a Zelda game, so like the storyline doesn't have to be super complex. And of course I did the Terrytown stuff all the way through the expansion for it as well. And all of this to say that I picked up the 2 version, the one that just came out. I don't remember the title of it off the top of my head now, because I'm so freaking disappointed in it. I feel like it was a bait and switch by the guys who created it, because it's basically Dynasty Warriors. I don't know if you guys ever played that franchise back in the day, but
Yeah, that one's pretty fun.
I feel like they took the graphics engine of the original game, and you can play as Link or Zelda or Impa, which is one of the like overseers from Breath of the Wild. You can play as her as a character, but it's really just like swinging your sword and you like knock 10 monsters, knock 10 moblins up into the sky. And, you know, when I'm talking about why I love Breath of the Wild so much, the new game has none of that. It's like a hack and slash, you know. So very disappointing. But yeah, Breath of the Wild to me is my number 1 game of all time for sure. Loved every minute of it.
I had a great time with Breath of the Wild as well. It is, aside from the NES Zelda, the first Zelda that I was able to get all the way through, and like really enjoy. Like I didn't get bored of it. I wanted to keep finding every single remaining shrine. I wanted to find more Korok seeds, even though they're like pretty inconsequential after you know, the first 10. But yeah, it was really fun to seek those things out. And it's another thing with like the world. It has a compelling world to just be in. To float around.
Like they engage you as you're walking around. Like that's amazing, you know?
Yeah.
Did you do the Hardy Durian stuff? Do you even know about the Hardy Durian?
It sounds familiar. It's been years since I played.
If you cook 5 Hardy Durians, it gives you 20 temporary hearts.
Yes, I did that.
So early in the game, if you can make your way there, you can kill you can get the Durians, and you can also kill a what are the big badasses called? The lion guys. The
Linox.
The lion. What is it?
Linox?
Lion. Linox?
No, I'm thinking Hinox. Yeah.
You're combining 2. Hinox is one.
Linos?
Yeah, I forget what the lion guys are. They're like
they're
basically like half horse, half man, half lion. They have like a lion mane. But there's a guy up there by the Durians as well. So if you get used to the timing on those guys, because you have at this point you probably have 3 or 4 hearts, maybe you hit a couple shrines. But you can get some great weapons starting off. So I've learned that that's where I go early on. And I agree with you totally about the Korok seeds. I think in my teetotaling playthrough, when I was done, I had like 110 Korok seeds in my inventory because I never took the time to go find the guy, you know, because he moves from location to location. But yeah, you just kind of find them if you're doing the exploration where you're kind of trying to cover every portion of the map. You really get a bunch, and it gets to be overload.
Yeah.
But even the Terrytown story, like the guy and like finding, everybody's got to be named the same, you know, and you got to go find them in the world and everything, was a great little expansion story.
Cool.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Chris, did you play Breath of the Wild?
No, I could barely stand to watch it, so I'm out.
Why?
I've never liked Zelda, ever. I have not enjoyed a single one of the games, and I've tried so many of them. And I even tried the free, like, whatever Chinese ripoff Genshin Impact recently, and, you know, I'm still, no, it's not my thing. It's not my style. It is so grindy and slow to me. I
didn't feel that in Breath of the Wild at all. I agree with Paul. Like, this is the first game I think I've ever played where there was no point during the playtime where I was not interested, you know? So, different for me for sure.
Yeah.
All right. What's your number 1 then, Clive?
Again, I didn't rank these from worst to best. They're just 3 of
doesn't matter. This
best
is your
games.
number 1. It's too late.
It's your number 1.
My favorite game of all time. Speaking of games with a compelling world, compelling open world games, GTA Online.
Never played it. I don't know why.
I had a hunch that was in the top 3, so for you.
Well, good intuition. I first of all, I love GTA games in general because I think that they have very sharp humor, really great satire, and that really materializes in the world with the NPCs, how they respond to you, how they behave, kind of the tongue-in-cheek nature to pretty much anything, whether it's a radio station or even like a description for a vehicle can be like really witty and just satirical, which I really enjoy. But I also find the physics engine really fun to play around in still. Like I can go out into the world and get a fast car and run into shit, or like drive around in a tank and blow stuff up. But where this really goes to the next level is in online, playing with other people, playing with friends, getting together, and specifically doing like heists, which to put it into a World of Warcraft terminology would be like a dungeon. 4 of you working together to accomplish this mission, whether it's like a casino heist or a bank robbery or breaking someone out of a high security prison. It's really some of the most fun I've had playing games with friends.
Interesting.
I will also say that the technicals behind the game are just horrendous. It is a horribly designed like piece of software or hardware, whatever you want to call it. Like online takes 10 minutes to log in. Hackers are rampant. Missions will drop. Like you'll just get disconnected from the game. But it kind of like, for me, it's like if the game itself wasn't so fun and so compelling, I guess
kind
it
of
just makes up
appropriate
for
for that game, isn't it? It's like the Wild West. Like the hackers and everything just kind of fit in.
Yeah,
It fits the theme, and it adds to the
do you do
game's
the
charm.
mods?
no.
Because that's the videos I've seen of GTA that have like got millions of viewers now. Is the guys that are like doing these crazy like obstacle courses up in the air where they have to like ride on a beam and stuff.
Yeah. There's a big modding community, big RP community too, which I think is it's something that I haven't even gotten into, but kind of plays into that whole social aspect, like even more, like doubles down on the social aspect.
Yeah, I could see that being enjoyable. Obviously, I'd love that part of World of Warcraft. The community and everything makes a game or breaks a game when you're talking about a social game like that, for sure. Cool. I wish I'd played it more. I do love the Grand Theft Auto games. Like I've played most of them, and I have Grand Theft Auto 5. And I have San Andreas actually as well. That was the last one I bought.
Then you can play more. The online community, I feel like it's growing still in that game.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoy the game. Like I played the single player aspect of it. That game, the funny thing about it is I've never been able to get through the story. Because inevitably you just end up like running around stealing cars and shooting people and like seeing if you can escape the cops, or steal a helicopter or something crazy.
Yeah.
I'm too out of control for that game. So Chris, what's your number one?
Oh man, I feel like it might be obvious, but it has 100% hands down PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Without a doubt.
The evolution of Counter-Strike, kind of.
In a sense, like the kind of realism they went for there and a more serious look. Yeah, I can see all that, but the way they actually play is still a little bit different.
But yeah, like the actual game is different. But
well, the mechanics are different on the weapons too, but like they go for their own different sense of realism in both of them. So, but yeah, I just love it. It's, speaking of games like have kind of run crappy and stuff like that sometimes, it's still that, and it's kind of killed it, right? If they like figured that out earlier and made it actually esports ready early and all that, who knows what it'd look like nowadays. But man, that game, talk about the just rewarding to do well in, and the challenge for it, and being able to play solo and slow if you want, or just like really fast. I've gotten sucked in like a lot of other games with like some of the skin and customizing my character's look, and I'm happy with it. But just what a great experience. Like no sniping game has ever been better for me than PUBG.
So I played with Chris in this game, and obviously Counter-Strike, Overwatch. Clearly there's a theme here. Chris is quite good at first-person shooters. The cool thing about PUBG that I love is you don't necessarily have to be good at shooting, like at the shooting aspect. You could kill and do very well at that game, just being good at, kind of being very surroundings aware.
Yep.
And kind of hiding at the right places and really understanding how to set traps for people, stuff like that. You could be a winner chicken dinner on a regular basis and not be the typical, poke your head around a corner and headshot someone instantly kind of first-person shooter player.
Yeah, one of my friends, he loves to play the game, but he thinks he is absolutely trash at shooters, and he always blames he calls it the devil hand because he's left-handed, and he, uses a mouse with his right hand, and he always blames that. But he gets some wins, and he does pretty well because, you can just be strategic on where you're going to sit, where you're going to hide. You can see all the action coming around. You're like, no, but I'll back up to my corner for a moment, and I'll wait for the opportune moment of someone to walk in front of me. Like, absolutely. Or you could just hang out and have a good time and camp the bridge a bit. So
that's my biggest strat.
Yeah, I know. Oh, every time I drive over that bridge, I think of you, Clive. I'm like, see that fucker down there? That's Clive. Wait. We actually had a game we ran the other day where my partner on the back of the motorcycle got shot off, but I made it past. So instead of going on knowing he was fully dead, I stopped in the next cars. I turned around and I killed both of those guys.
There you go.
Wow.
I should have left and gone on to try and win the game, but I went to loot them as well. And then I had 3 different people sniping at me from somewhere else, and I was like, oh, damn it.
He let his pride take control for a while.
Well, when you lose your partner in duos like that, I didn't want to go on. Life's not worth living without him, But no, that game has been such a big influence. I know I'm around 1,100 hours on it, which is still not high compared to a lot of others in that game even. But
you got more than that in League for sure. You probably have 3 times that in League.
For League, absolutely. I mean, come on, even gone through unemployment days and stuff like that. Yeah, League is up there. But PUBG, I love it, and I even remember when I think Clive got me into it because he knew about it first, and when I even started seeing it on Twitch, it didn't even have an icon on Twitch yet. And it just looked like, whether it went all in caps, it looked like it was like an error,
spam game
or something. Yeah, it looked like it just wasn't meant to be. It didn't recognize any game. And I was like, that's weird. I never tuned into anybody who watched it until finally seeing Clive. I'm like, oh, this looks interesting. So, and then I got into it. I was like, oh, I love it.
Yeah, from a social aspect, PUBG is really interesting too because it's only you and a few of your closest friends. And this is a game where if you're going to play with somebody, you better be able to count on that person. You have to watch each other's back. You have to, stay together and, stay moving. That's the other thing. You can't be lagging behind. So you really kind of, the people you play with can really impact your chances of winning greatly.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, and it's hard. I think it's pretty hard to carry someone unless you have 2 good players could probably carry 1, mediocre player. Would you agree with that?
No, because you can get out positioned real easily. You probably need at least 3 of them to be pretty decent. And even 3s, we go into squads with only a 3-man squad, and it's just so difficult. That extra person adds up so much. I think the only way you can carry is in duos, maybe.
Interesting. Yeah, so it's even harder. But my point was that it's challenging. You really have to carry your weight as a team member when you're playing in this game. Because it's a 3D world. You're being attacked from all sides. The area you can play in continually gets smaller. So they're just corralling players into tighter and tighter areas. And then once you really get down to where it's tight, that's where first-person shooter skills really come into, the final win. Because a lot of times you got distance, you got, obstacles to take them out or whatever. And they've got multiple players on their team too. So you're trying to get a flank on them. I mean, it's a fantastically designed game. It plays very well. And if you've never played it and you've heard of maybe Fortnite, Fortnite's kind of the same model. I just saying this to insult Chris mostly, but the same.
You're dead
idea.
to me.
Basically insult
idea of
everyone who's
closing
listening
states.
right now. But okay,
you played Fortnite, Chris. Don't even deny it. I know you did.
Yeah, I played it a couple times, and I hate it. It's like an easy cartoony game for kids. And hey, that's fine because that game was significantly more successful. And, and they have a growing base. And come on, their championships, I hated playing it, but I watched the one year where that 16-year-old kid won solos, Booga.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, it's just incredible. There's no denying the amount of skill and dedication put in for them. And I really appreciate it. I can personally never play that as well. For probably the third person aspect alone, I could never do it.
I couldn't stand the building aspect of it. It really threw me. I can see why people like it and you get good at it and everything, but it just didn't interest me. I didn't want to practice that and get good at it. I wanted to, PUBG is way more my speed.
To me, that hurts the pacing.
What's that,
To me,
Clive?
to me that hurts the pacing. Like I'm gonna, instead of having to run to the next house, I'm gonna build my house wherever I want. Like that, I don't know.
Yeah, you get a shot off on you, and suddenly there's like a tower, like a full freaking
fortress
hotel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, okay. And there are some interesting aspects to it, like build architecture stuff. The more I watch Fortnite, obviously there's a lot of like nuance to it, and there are interesting mechanics there. But to me, I don't know, it's just a little bit too pace breaking and maybe a little bit too unnatural for like what it is. Like, oh, I'm going to collect some wood and then build a house in 3 seconds.
Yeah. I feel it's exciting to watch, and you can really appreciate their pro players and what they have with that. But it's not my game to personally play.
I do, in general, think that battle royales are a very compelling game to watch. It's like you get a story for free. It's survival of the fittest or smartest or whatever, whoever can use their geography and their skills and their wit the best, and like make it to the top. And you know that at the end of that game, the best people are facing off in the final like 5 people.
And spectator mode was like a stroke of genius. Like whoever said, "What are we going to do after they die?" And they're like, "Well, just let them watch through whoever's eyes they want." And the fact that well, if you're on teams, that can get a little hairy, obviously. But the main thing is like when you're watching the battles as they're closing, and you can switch between, you can like go, "Oh my God, he's sneaking up behind him," and you're like in there with him. You get to watch it happen live. So when you're dead, like the game is almost still just as enjoyable as when you were playing. So stroke of genius on that for sure.
Yeah.
I love watching the team too. Like actually sitting like in Chris's seat, watching his screen as he plays. Number one, it's educational for those of us who are more amateur players too. You kind of go, "Oh, watch what he did there. I didn't even think about taking that route or doing that or, reloading before I stepped into
Watch what he did there. He just flipped his bike over a fucking jump and went straight in." That's what I know.
Yeah. With me in the passenger seat going, what are we doing? Guns live. Here we go. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Chris is fun to play PUBG with, so very, very enjoyable. Not surprised that's your number one, actually.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think that's covered our game section. What are we doing next, Clive? You're the one who's controlling the format here.
Sure. Did we want to talk about kind of our honorable mention of Among Us?
Oh, we should talk about that. I love what that game has done. Actually, my daughter showed me that, and I still haven't played it, honestly. I should play it. But we played a game called The Resistance. Have you ever heard of that?
Mm-mm.
Chris?
No.
So it's a board game, and I suggest you pick it up because it's a lot of fun. You get a group of friends. The concept is simple, and if you know Among Us, it's basically Among Us. I think honestly was inspired by this game, The Resistance. Basically, you draw a card out of a deck of cards, and the deck of cards is equal to the number of people that are playing. And there's a preset number of spies in the deck. And then what you did was, as a group, you would run missions, and there's a mission leader who gets picked each time. The mission leader goes around the table clockwise. And the mission leader goes, "I'm going to take Clive with me, but I'm leaving Chris because I think he's a spy." And then the spy essentially fails the mission. They make the mission fail. So the people who wanted to succeed want to get, I think, 3 missions to succeed to win. And the spies want to fail 3 missions to make them lose. But if the people who are not spies figure out who the spies are before they get those 3 failures, the game's over. So I feel like Among Us kind of captured that a little bit. My daughter plays an awful lot, so I've actually watched it played many times. Also, Markiplier, I've seen play it, and Jacksepticeye, to name a couple of really popular streamers that I've seen play it. And what they did was so brilliant to me because the game is not in the graphics. It's not even in the gameplay. It's in the emergency meetings. Because the game is not the game. The game is how good of a liar are you? And how good are you at convincing everyone that you're not the one that should be ejected off the ship?
It's a negotiation sim.
It is. And honest to God, like if you sat around as a, teenager, 17, 18 something, and played this game for like 2 years, you're going to be ready for the job market when you get out. Because you see what I'm saying? Like this game it's impressive. It's actually building a skill that's useful.
Yeah, I'm
the
horrible at
ability-
it.
Yeah, I'm bad at it too. Yeah,
I'm not good at lying. So, and I don't also like just keep pushing the issue. So, I get ejected all the time. All the time.
He's mostly guilty, I'm sure.
So
Chris
you
would
wanted
be
to
the spy if he could choose.
Oh, absolutely.
your opinion about this is that this is like a new genre, but I actually think that maybe it's a refining on something that's maybe already existed in terms of not necessarily this type of game where you're trying to deduce the imposters or, you know, the mafia or whatever it might be, but this is the next level of social game. We've seen social games kind of go through this party game, Jackbox kind of time span where it's like casual fun, low stakes, and now I think this is like a more smart iteration because it actually allows people's individual personalities to shine more.
Yeah, this is the taking it way back to before video games were a thing. You know, people got together. When you played a game, the purpose of the game was not just to have fun. The purpose of the game was to bond with the people who you invited over to party. It's like, not only do I want to enjoy your company, have fun, but I want to know more about who you are. I want to know you on a deeper level. So that's why we had games like charades and, Pictionary. Let's draw pictures because we're going to reveal your art skills or how good of a game you can maybe talk around your horrible art skills or whatever.
Or even in recent years, things like Cards Against Humanity, for instance.
Exactly. Cards Against
Or the
Humanity,
perfect
same
in-person
thing. We're
example.
going to find out how dirty and perverted
Yes.
you actually are on the inside.
Oh yeah, I
You
hold
don't
back in
wanna
that
tell
game. No one needs to know just how far that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris will shock you. I guarantee you that. But that being said, I play with my mother-in-law, so that was shocking having to explain to her, what certain words were. But I mean, truthfully, at this stage of our life with me and my wife, my mother-in-law, we laughed for hours, and the funny thing about that is, when you get done with a game like that. It's kind of, even with Cards Against Humanity, but it's a great example. You have learned something about the people that you play with, even if it's kind of in a silly intent. But, I love that aspect of those kind of games. And when you look at Among Us, I think it's like probably, the best game out there right now that is drawing the numbers that it is for that kind of gameplay. You're gonna learn something about the people you're playing with, and you're gonna laugh, and you're probably gonna get upset once or twice, and
What? No.
It's amazing that this game can do that. So I feel like it's a special thing. But I'm with you, Clive. I get what you're saying. They are refining that. What was the game that you and Chris played, where one of you was a sniper and one of you was
Spy Party?
Spy Party. Is that kind of? I mean, you guys. There's like a talking aspect of that too. I've only watched you guys play it a few times, but
not so much a talking aspect, but it is kind of an asymmetric, competitive game. The same way that Among Us is, you have one person who's doing something naughty and someone who's like trying to suss out that person.
Oh, but it actually goes in really well. Like if it was a one-on-one, like that's the 1v1 of Among Us right there. Like
True point.
Thinking, yeah,
I love being imposter in Among Us, and I think part of that's because of Spy Party, and I never thought of that before because trying to blend in and do, like, we know me, I'd go for everything risky, like, all the time. And that's how I play Among Us. Like, I get caught in such horrible moments as imposter. There's
Chris
no
pops out of the
denying who
vent,
did
and he
it.
just stands there. They like look at each other, 3 seconds of silence, then he kills them.
Hey, but when I do it right, nobody knows, and they're all dead within, like, a minute. So
When Chris
Whenever
is the
that
imposter,
happens.
he just goes for the kills as fast. He doesn't even do any fake
no,
tasks.
it's
just goes
for
straight for the
sure.
kills.
I'm on a murder spree without a doubt, which is why I don't ever get like I don't have to lie when I'm imposter because there's no lying about it. But as crewmate, I'm hardly ever imposter, and I'm just people suss me out for silly stuff. I'm like, all right, cool, yeah.
First
why not?
emergency meeting, they're like, I found 3 bodies.
Oh yeah, that'd probably be me then. Yeah, for sure.
They were all in the same room. I don't know how.
I'm very good at being what is often referred to as third imposter, which is someone who's crewmate,
Oh, are you?
but susses out someone else who's innocent, and thereby help the other imposters to win.
Do you like really go hard into them, like with your reasons why, and just not let up?
Yeah, and like
And why is it always Mikey?
Well, yeah. Yeah,
Is it? That'd be great if it was. That'd be hilarious.
I mean, sometimes it's because
guys, my recording stopped. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe not. Hold on a second.
Okay.
I want to double check.
Oh, jeez.
Let's pause for a second.
While you're
just to make
debugging,
sure.
I still have in video
recording,
recording
we're good.
too, so we're good.
So we'll cut this section. But yeah, sorry. I just looked over and I was like, it's not moving, but it's just gotten so long that I can't necessarily. We are at the 1 hour mark. This is a time check.
And
I know.
I got to go in 5 minutes, but so
I was just gonna say.
let's hop to it. I actually did have more that I wanted to bring up, but since we're running low on time, maybe just a game chat is all we needed.
It was a very enjoyable chat. I have to say, this just makes me want to just like do this again every week. You know, like a podcast or something.
All right, bring your 4, 5, and 6 games next week.
Oh,
4,
Lord.
5.
All right.
That's tough.
All right.
1, 2, 3 was a piece of cake. Like I didn't even have to think. When you said that the other day, and you're like, "This is what we're gonna talk about," I was like, "I know what I got."
Mm-hmm.
4, 5, and 6. You know, and truthfully, putting that level of thought and effort into it, it might be a more interesting conversation. Not that this was bad, because I think we covered these games pretty well and talked about.
I like
what we loved
that.
and
Let's
hated
do
about
it.
but-
Let's do a New Year one.
A new year.
Bring in the New Year.
Yeah.
So did this joke just turn into a revival? Is that what just happened? Did we just become best friends?
I mean, I think the only issue is trying to have compatible times for everybody.
That's true.
We got to do video.
That's
we
why
got
I
to
fell
do
off.
video if we're going forward with this. I know you weren't prepared for that tonight, but Chris, you got to do video.
I can make that happen in the future. It was not an option tonight.
That's fine.
I just had to come home and get naked, and I just can't bring that onto the podcast.
He's got 3
you know?
women behind him on his bed right now.
I got in the hot tub, I got out and I like lathered myself in barbecue sauce
Oh,
and hyped
yeah.
myself up. And I was like, oh yeah, that's smoking good. We can do
That's
the
what he's been
podcast
doing the
now.
whole
Smoking
time.
good.
He's just
I
laying
love
on
it.
his bed, lathered in barbecue sauce, and 3 beautiful women.
Oh, and I sat in front of the
cleaning
fire, so
him.
I've got like those nice glazed like nipples with the sauce on there. It's
Oh,
just amazing. It's
This
fantastic.
is a family-friendly podcast,
I mean-
my friend.
I'm getting hungry. I don't know about you.
Chris is. Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic. All right, moving on.
I can be
I
prepared
don't
more
wanna
in the
talk about this
future.
anymore. So, anyways, are we done?
So-
are we done
Yeah.
for today?
Are we
I think
still
all
recording or
love
no?
Among Us, and we're gonna sign off for this week.
Absolutely.
Should we do
Are
our?
we going to be back? You don't know. If
We
you're
don't
listening
know.
to this right now, you don't know because we
We'll
don't
be
know.
back. Yeah, we'll be back.
So we'll see what happens. Yeah. I think we should
Eventually.
expand. If we're going to be back, I think we should expand because, or maybe I can bring something different to the podcast than just video games. Like I can talk other things because like I have other interests that I think go along in the vein. If you guys are interested, like maybe 3D printing.
Yeah.
You know, I've been
Well,
getting
that fits
into.
the overall Nerdquake
What's
theme,
that, Chris?
things like that. I said that fits what we've done in the past.
It's
the 3D
nerds,
printing.
right? It's nerdy
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. I'm also doing vinyl cutting. That's something I picked up recently because of my Jeep club. So I'm big time into Jeep Wranglers, if you don't know that about me. And I've been doing cutting on basically what amounts to a plotter. But, you know, I could cut some Nerdquake stickers for us that we could put on our cars. Just saying, you know.
Oh yeah, brother.
Maybe I see an Etsy shop as a possibility. You know, I can actually, the cool thing about vinyl cutting too, recently they've introduced, well, I don't know how recently it is, truthfully, but there is new material that you can get for a vinyl cutter, and it's called Flex. And what it is it is preformed. Yeah, I know that this is not that complicated, so relax, Clive. It's preformed screen print. So essentially, put it on the vinyl cutter, cut out what you want, stick it on your T-shirt, and you know, there's an iron press that presses it down onto the shirt, and you make T-shirts with it too. So there may be some Nerdquake T-shirts in this for us as well. I may have to order some of those, ship them out.
This escalated quickly.
At least, you know, I think we should have one. I think at least the 3 of us should have one for.
Let's start a
members.
coffee shop. I just wanted to escalate it further.
Start a coffee shop. Is that what you just
Yeah, a
said?
podcast coffee shop. Yeah, here we go.
Nerdquake the coffee shop. Nerdquake the flamethrower.
I like it.
Yeah. Little. Now I can't even remember the movie that I just referenced.
Well, with that note,
Oh no! Somebody's gonna call me out on that.
no,
What
I
was
don't
the
know.
movie?
I don't know.
Oh, you guys stink! It's the Mel Brooks movie,
You're
the
the one
Star
who
Wars
forgot the movie.
satire. Barf,
Okay.
the Schwartz, yogurt.
Oh.
Spaceballs, the flamethrower. Have a great one. Thanks for tuning in to episode 21.
Yep. Funny.
I need a
Say
smoke
goodnight,
after
Clive.
that.
Oh,
do I
God.
get to self-promote too?
Self-promote.
Cool.
Promote away.
Follow me on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Clive5.
The only person I am subscribed to on twitch.tv.
Thank
Right there. Clive.
Okay. Follow him on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Clive5.
I am not subscribed to Chris, although I have been subscribed to Chris for a long time. I transferred my Prime membership over to... Actually, you know what, Clive? You're a legit membership. Nobody has my Prime membership right now. You're a legit subscription. You're literally getting $5 a month from me.
Thank you.
I hope you're having a nice lunch on me. Well, no, he gets like what?
248 from you.
248.
I mean,
So,
okay, so
I hope you enjoy your Coca-Cola with your
thank
lunch.
you. I appreciate it. I mean, you were just mentioning your hobbies, and as the both of you know, but maybe our audience does not. I'm a father now, so I don't have time for as many hobbies. Twitch has been like the one thing that I've been able to like actually maintain throughout, parenthood. So that's.
Speaking of that, if we do another episode, I think Clivette has to make a cameo. That's just the end of it. He is a father of an adorable baby. So who I've had the pleasure of watching over Facebook, greedily not being able to meet her and kiss her cute little face. Because I am a lover of baby. Oh, she has the cheeks, man. She's adorable. She does. Yes. And she is large and in charge too, which is amazing. Like, yeah, the stories that you guys post and watching her just kind of her little personality develop is incredible. So yeah, it's awesome, isn't it?
It is. It's fun. I love it.
I remember how terrified you guys were. I just remember the original messages. So yeah, it's amazing. I'm so glad you guys are enjoying it. Last thing before we sign off, my children, my youngest child, approximately 3 weeks ago, turned 18. So I officially have no children. They have survived. They lived.
They're still children. Come on.
Not an empty nest. I doubt they're ever going to move out, but they did survive to be 18 years old. So I feel like I was a successful father.
Congratulations.
So.
And your kids are great too.
Absolutely.
Like watching them
I appreciate it.
go through all that band stuff, and it's been
absolutely. Yeah, they're great kids. Yeah, the things that were important, we reinforce with them. They're very, very individual, not like me or Angel at all, completely individual. But though we disagree with them, on key issues, I think there's a huge age gap when you're looking at kind of political issues or anything else. That has a huge impact on how you view them. We have definitely taught them that, like discourse and respect and some of the things that I think are missing from the world today. So I see that in them, and it makes me very happy as a father, So
okay,
I know that you're doing the same thing. I know you're doing the same thing, so don't even give me that crap. Those are the important things in life. I don't care where you land in the spectrum. I care that you respect other people, So that's a message from Nerdquake as we sign off. We'll see you on episode 21.